Hello, all my gorgeous little children out there. This is and Marcia and the Russian Dolls Part 2, and I'm just gonna show you them again as a little reminder. Show you my Russian dolls. There they are, sitting there. The little one in front, Anastasia, and the one hiding there. So here is Part 2 of the story. So the next afternoon came, and poor Marcia got followed by two boys and two girls who taunted her. Bernie, Andy, Donna, and Lena chased her along the river, taunting, "You are ugly and stupid. You will never get anywhere in life." Marcia came to a bridge, and she climbed down and hid behind the rocks. Her bullies tried to find her, as Bernie mocked, "Come out from wherever you hide in. I know that you grasped on us, and now you are in trouble." Marcia's little heart pounded as the bullies did not notice her and just walked across the bridge away from her. Once they were out of sight, she ran to Miss Lemondrop's house in tears. Miss Lemondrops hugged her, saying, "Oh no, sweetheart, are those kids bullying you again?" Marcia nodded her head and wept. "Yes, they are. They were after my books to show me how stupid I am." Miss Lemondrop tenderly wiped her tears and consoled. "Marcia, look at me. You are not stupid, but a very gifted little girl." Marcia gave a half smile behind her tears and walked over to the Russian dolls and picked each one up individually and studied them each intently. Miss Lemondrop smiled. "You like those dolls, don't you?" Marcia nodded her head. Miss Lemondrop continued, "How would you like to take care of them while I go to the store and buy us some lemonade and cookies?" Marcia smiled and nodded. Miss Lemondrop smiled back and went inside her house. Anastasia shouted out loud, "Hi, Marcia!" Marcia walked over to her and picked her up. Did you, and picked her up and asked, "Did you say hello to me?" Elsa spoke up. "Yes, my friend, we really did," Marcia replied. "But I didn't think that dolls could talk." Anastasia burst. "We can talk," Marcia puzzled. "But how is this possible?" Andrew explained. "We were once real girls until the fairy godmother put a spell on us. The only way the spell will be broken is if we make a best friend. But we never had a friend in all our lives." Marcia sighed. "Me neither. The only friend I have is my little brother, who I am close to." Marcia was unaware that her mum was listening to the conversation after Miss Lemondrop let her in. Mrs. McIntyre asked Marcia, "What are you doing, honey?" Marcia smiled. "I am talking to the dolls." Miss McIntyre shook her head and explained, "Those dolls don't talk, sweetheart. You are hearing things. That is why Miss Lemondrop and I have arranged for you to speak to a psychologist here in her home, so we know what is going on in your head, so we know how to help you. His name is Glenn, and he is very nice. And don't be shy, as we are all here to support you." Marcia nodded in agreement and replied, "Okay, Mummy." That evening, once Miss Lemondrop came back, the three of them spoke to Glenn, and he diagnosed her with Asperger's, which Marcia and her family accepted. Marcia and her mum left Miss Lemondrop's house, and the sunset came in again. The dolls looked outside the living room window to watch the rainbow, and they saw the colour orange disappearing from the rainbow. Anastasia cried, "Oh no, we only have 5 days left to make a best friend." Elsa seemed calmed and reassured. "Don't worry, little sisters. I have a good feeling that we have hope still." The next day Marcia went to school, and as usual she got picked on and left out. Donna smiled as she gave out birthday invitations to each child in her class, but walked past poor Marcia, smirking. "You are not invited to my party." Even during the lunch break, as Marcia went to sit down on her chair to eat her dinner, Bernie and Andy pulled the chair out from under her, and she fell on the ground crying as all the other children circled around her laughing. After school she came into Miss Lemondrop's house with tears in her eyes. Then she had an eureka moment. She smiled to herself as she sat up next to Miss Lemondrop's piano and started to play the most beautiful pieces of music written by Beethoven and Strauss. She grabbed the Russian dolls and smiled as she sat them on top of the piano and said, I will show them that I'm better than them. Elsa asked, better than who? Marcia explained, better than all my school peers who enjoy making my life a misery, especially that Bernie and Andy, Donna and Lena. Elsa replied, you are already better than them because your heart is innocent and pure, but their heart is evil. Marcia smiled under her tears and nodded her head. All of a sudden, Miss Lemondrop had a knock on her door. It was Mr. Donut. Marcia gave a huge smile as he sold Miss Lemondrop's parts for her piano. When he left, Miss Lemondrop said that Mr. Donut has been in, never been inside her house, but he has been delivering piano parts to her house for years, and how they have had good lengthy conversations with each other, and she had secretly grown fond of him. Hearing that cheered Marcia up a lot, and she went home happily. Miss Lemondrop also told Marcia that she was incredibly gifted with her piano playing, and that she would think about putting her into the town's concert show and talent show. But another day had passed, and the Russian dolls looked outside Miss Lemondrop's window at sunset, and this time the colour yellow disappeared from the rainbow. That night Marcia worked hard in writing a song and making music to go with her song. The next day at school Marcia was excited and ran up to Miss Lemondrop and asked, Miss, please can I share my song and piece of music, as I've been working hard on it all night long. Miss Lemondrop smiled and said, I'm sure your song is magnificent, but we will have to ask the head teacher first. Miss Lemondrop asked the head teacher, who gave her permission for her to play her song at the school assembly, and Marcia played her heart out with all her might, and everyone was astonished to hear her play so beautifully and with so much passion. They all gave her a big round of applause. At dinner time, Bernie, Andy, Donna, and Leanna looked at each other and Donna said, we had better apologise to Marcia for being so mean to her, because one day she might become rich and famous with her talent, and we will be well off with a rich and famous friend. Bernie replied, great idea. So the four bullies went up and said, Marcia, your piano playing was fantastic. Sorry that we bullied you. Can we be friends? But Marcia replied, I accept your apology. However, if you can't be a friend to me for who I am, talent or no talent, then I can't be your friend at all. Marcia walked away past as they jeered at her, and Lena snapped, we don't take kindly to being rejected. You will be sorry. After school, Marcia felt very contented, and Miss Lemondrop let her take piano lessons off that night to play with her Russian dolls instead. They had fun in the paddling pool, her swinging them on the swing, and having a pretend dinner party. And that night, Marcia had good long conversations with each doll, and bonded with each on a deep level. Miss Lemondrop informed Marcia, I'm going to the city tomorrow, so I won't be here at all. You will not be able to come for your usual piano lessons. Marcia just nodded and smiled. Goodbye. Sunset came upon them again, and this time the Russian dolls looked outside of Miss Lemondrop's window to see the green disappear from the rainbow. The next morning Marcia walked past Miss Lemondrop's house. Her window was half open, and she climbed into her house. She walked over to the Russian dolls, asking, Has Miss Lemondrop left for town yet? Elsa replied, Yes. Marcia suggested, How would you like to come to school with me today? Elsa and her sisters cheered, Yes, please. We never had a day at school in our lives, and always wanted to. Marcia grabbed them and put them in her school bag, saying, Okay, but you must not talk. Just listen and observe, and I will take you back here tonight before Miss Lemondrop is due home. That sounds wonderful. We are so excited, the dolls cheered in unison. Once they got to school, the dolls sat quietly inside Marcia's school bag and listened intently to the supply teacher, and Marcia kept peeking in her bag, smiling. Donna and Lena smirked at each other and shook their heads in a mocking way. Once it came to dinner time, Donna Elena came behind Marcia as she got her dinner tray ready and chose lunch. They mocked, "You are weird. Why do you keep smiling inside your bag? And don't forget, we are still angry at you for rejecting us." Anastasia spoke up. "Why are these girls so nasty?" Marcia then went, "Shh." And Donna replied, "Who are you calling nasty? And how dare you tell us to be quiet?" With that, they hit her tray from underneath and made her dinner fly everywhere, then pushed her to the ground, and poor Marcia just sat down crying on the ground. After school, Marcia walked through the forest, and Elsa asked her, "Why do you let those nasty children get away with them bullying you?" Marcia shrugged her shoulders and cried, "I don't know." Donalina, Bernie, and Andy were walking behind her when suddenly Andy grabbed her bag and mocked. "Who are you talking to?" Donna mocked. "To herself, as nobody likes her, and she has no friends." The Russian dolls whispered quietly to themselves. We have to got to stop those bullies. This has gone on this has gone too far for far too long." Donna, Bernie, and Nina circled Marcia, each taking turns to push her, when all of a sudden, from behind the trees, a huge bear appeared and started growling at them. The bully scarpered, and Marcia was left on the ground, scurrying along the ground, trying to get away. But Elsa reassured, "Marcia, it is okay. We told the bear to scare the bullies away, and he is not going to hurt you." Marcia quizzed, "How did you do that?" Elsa explained, "When our mum was alive, she was given a hidden ability to be able to communicate with animals, and she passed that ability down to us. Um, we always went for walks with our mum before she died 2 years ago. Suddenly, deers, raccoons, rabbits, and each animals of the forest came out from their hiding, and Marcia and the sisters had a lovely time talking to the animals before taking them back home. Sunset came in yet again at the end of the day, and this time Blue disappeared from the rainbow. The next day there was no school, but Miss Lemondrop was in town all day. Marcia sneaked into Miss Lemondrop's house and said, "Come, girls, today I am going to take you to our local fun fair, and we are going to have some great fun together." So she sneaked them into her bag and climbed out of Miss Lemondrop's window and ran away quickly to hit the town. They arrived at the fun fair, and Marcia and the dolls had fun on the Ferris wheel as she went in on a seat on her own, and they took turns to peek out of her bag. They also went on the bumper cars, carousel, the roller coaster, log flume, helter skelter, and waltzer together. They had a wonderful afternoon together until Donna, Bernie, Andy, and Nina arrived at the fun fair, and Marcia spotted them. Marcia panicked. "We better get out of here and take you dolls home now." But as she ran away, the four bullies caught up with her, and Andy grabbed her bag, mocking, "What do we have inside this bag?" Marcia demanded, "Give me my bag back." Andy mocked, "No," as he emptied her bag to find the Russian doll spilled out on the grass. Nina mocked, "How sad Marcia talks to dolls, because she don't have any real friends." Marcia quickly grabbed the dolls and ran back to Miss Lemondrop's house. But then she noticed that little Anastasia was missing, and she cried, "Oh no, what am I going to tell Miss Lemondrop?" Miss Lemondrop arrived and home at the scene and smiled. "Hi, Marcia, what are you doing here?" Marcia sobbed, "I'm so sorry, Miss Lemondrop. I did not mean it to happen." Miss Lemondrop asked, "What? Mean what to happen?" Marcia replied, "I took the Russian dolls to hang out with me at the fun fair, but Andy, Donna, Bernie, and Leanna stole little Anastasia, the smallest of all the dolls." Miss Lemondrop looked at her with such disappointment in her eyes and moaned, "I am so disappointed in you, Marcia. I thought I could trust you. You are the last pupil I would expect to enter into my house while I'm not here, and I could easily sue you, but I will not do that, However, I think it is best if you don't come around here any more." With that, Marcia ran off sobbing her heart out. That night, Andrea, Annabel, and Francesca all sat weeping after Anastasia. Miss Lemondrop looked at them, shaking her head and thinking out loud, "It seems weird, but they seem pale with sadness tonight." Meanwhile, Andy put Anastasia on his shelf and kept mocking, "Speak, dumb doll, speak." And when she kept silent, he flicked her over with his fingers. That night, all the dolls could see the same rainbow, and they all wept to witness indigo colour leaving the rainbow. All seemed dark, sad, and empty, that there was literally no hope after all. And they left, and there was no hope of them ever becoming real girls. Poor Anastasia wept all night long until a female wolf heard her cries for help, and she jumped through Andy's bedroom window and put little Anastasia gently in her mouth, carried her out, and tracked through the city all the way back to Miss Lemondrop's home and dropped her back inside her elder sisters. The sisters, who felt empty and incomplete without Anastasia inside them, felt overjoyed at their reunion and made them know that they all needed each other. Even though Elsa felt a huge responsibility in carrying them all inside her. The next day at school, the four bullies seemed to keep giving Marcia growling looks, and Miss Lemondrop was not her friendly self. Marcia got home and played on the home piano, and her family were very, very impressed. Mrs. McIntyre put her hand on her daughter's shoulder and encouraged her. "Why not take these homemade cookies over to Miss Lemondrop to try and reconcile your friendship with her?" Marcia drooped but nodded her head. The sun was just about to set. Inside Miss Lemondrop's house, the dolls were crying and trying to console each other because they knew they had no chance of ever becoming real girls again, as time was closing in on their last chance. Marcia knocked the door, crying, "Please, Miss Lemondrop, let me in. I am so sorry for what I did, but please forgive me." Miss Lemondrop let Marcia aside and smiled. "Thanks for the apology. Of course I forgive you." Marcia then walked over to the Russian dolls, crying, "And I would miss them too." Miss Lemondrop replied, "I know, sweetheart, but why are those dolls so important to you?" All of a sudden, the colour violet was starting to fade from the rainbow, when all of a sudden, with only 1 second to spare before the colour faded, Marcia burst. "Because those Russian dolls are not just dolls, but they are the best friends that I've ever had, and I love them so much." All of a sudden, Marcia's tears turned into raindrops, and the sun shone bright against the rain, forming the beautiful rainbow to appear again in the sky, and the dolls turned back into real girls. Marcia hugged each one by one. The neighbours ran outside to take photos of the beautiful rainbow. Mr. Donut was passing by, and Miss Lemondrop this time let him inside. The girls saw Mr. Donut and shouted in excitement, "Daddy!" and ran up to give him a big hug. Miss Lemondrop asked, "Are you really their dad?" Yes, he replied. "A few years ago, my business was not picking up, and after their mum died, I could no longer afford to keep them, but now my business is booming, so I want them to live with me again." "And you?" Miss Lemondrop puzzled. "And me?" Mr. Donut replied, "Yes, I love you very much. Will you marry me?" "Yes, I love you too," replied Miss Lemondrop. And so here is how the story ends. Mr. Donut and Miss Lemondrop get married, and they continue to live in Miss Lemondrop's house. Miss Lemondrop adopts all of his 6 children, and she loves them, and they love her. Marcia and the 6 sisters continue to be the best friends forever, and Marcia becomes a little star in her piano playing, performing in many concerts and making her own songs. As for the bullies, they are expelled and never seen again. The girls all have a good education and get to go to school, and Marcia and her 6 friends then get to tell their story to the whole world. The end. So I hope you all enjoyed that and was blessed by that. God bless you all. Lots of love.